Hello everybody and welcome to Northeast Rails. Well, this one's going to be a long one. I don't normally do really long videos, but it's very detailed. So I'm doing a out of the NB Southern things that you've seen that from previous videos. I picked up a train show not that long ago. I've been doing some conversions on some of these over from DC to DCC and thought that I would log one of them. So it's very detailed, basically from scratch right at the very start of it to right at the end of it, all the things that went wrong all the way through. I left all that stuff in so people can see them so you don't make the same mistakes. Sometimes things are just bad luck. Sometimes things are just, I'm getting older, I get a bit of shaky hands, glue gun doesn't go where it's supposed to go, stuff like that. Nothing I can really do about that. But thought I'd show the process all the way through. It is a really long one, so this video is not really for everybody, but if you're looking to do a DCC conversion on an old blue box Athearn, this is probably right up your alley for this one. Hopefully you can stick through to the end of it and watch it. It is about an hour long. I'll try to put chapters or something in there to show different areas of it and where we get her going, different parts that are working, what's not working, and so forth. But anyway, hopefully you stick around. Okay, so here we are. We're going to do a DCC conversion of this that I picked up at a train show, and there's been a video on my channel about that. And what we have here is a Walther's shell that I have modified somewhat to fit onto a Athearn chassis. Now this chassis has obviously seen some better days. We're going to need to do some work on that. And the only thing that I've done so far to the shell, I had to make some minor modifications to it to get it to fit onto this, including cutting some pieces off the inside, drilling these holes a little bit better. I've also removed the front and rear bulbs. Done this by basically getting my, where is it here? My handheld drill thing and just putting a long 2mm or something, or 1.8mm drill bit on it and just pushing it out, and that works fine. So that works. Looks like this has already been modified for whatever reason now to fit something up here on the inside, looks like. So that's going to need to be further modified to get the LED in there, which is intended to be this in the front. I'm going to put one of these in the front and two of these in the back for the lighting. Some other things that are going to need to be done, since to move the DCC, you can't use the chassis touching the motor. Here on the bottom, on the Athearn motors, they use the one pin on top. That'll also need to come off, actually. And then the bottom touches the chassis. That needs to be isolated. So I need to drill a hole into the chassis right around there. We'll show you where that is when I get to that point. I'm going to take it out in the drill press in the garage. And after that's drilled, it will be tapped with a pretty much a standard tap and a number 6 screw. And anyway, you'll see that when we get to that point. And okay, so what's first? What's first will be get this shell actually out of the way so we can work on the chassis. Priority, I guess, just start with the basics. Priority is getting all this old stuff off of it. Oh, that's nice and loose. That's fantastic. Get all this stuff off of it, and I'll heat up my soldering iron, and then we'll pick it up from there. All right, what do we got here? Let's start with the basics. Pull this off. Ooh, it's nasty. I wonder what the smell of that is. Whew. And then get rid of this one. Be careful with doing this when people solder things on top of that. The heat transfers through to the plastic if you don't do it really high temperature to try to get this off there fast. It like if you do it with a low temperature setting on the soldering iron, the heat starts to transfer and can damage the where this is held up in the plastic. So don't do that. Crank this up as high as you can, hit it as hard as you can, get it off there as fast as you can. Just to avoid damage is the best way to do that. Now, next steps will be start disassembling all this stuff, because this has to come apart. What we'll be doing is putting, oh, it's on this side, putting the attachments for the soldering the attachments for the gray and black cables for the DCC decoder onto the sides of this. The red power cable for the pickup will go between the two of these with something much more reasonable, something like this. That's a little unnecessary. This is much thinner wire, and it's much more flexible and easier to push down and stuff like that. So connect the two of these, and the red wire will connect to one of them. Black wire is going to end up connecting down here once we get that drilled and tapped. And okay, so next steps. Next steps will be after get that cooled down and get that out of here, and start disassembling this. Okay, what's up next? Up next, I guess we'll start popping stuff off here and see what. See where we go next. These should be fairly straightforward. Most of these from Athearn just pop off, though not easily apparently. Okay, that drop that off. All of that will get cleaned up later. To the side. Same thing over here. We'll just pop this off. And we will take this off. Clean that all up later. Okay, great. Now what? Now this has to come off. Alright, that's always fun. Let's see if I can find something a little different than a slot head to push that through. And of course, it looks like at some point I put brand new motor mounts on it, of course, which will make it harder to get off there. Okay, it's one. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay. So, that off, push this side. So in here, I've already made a mark. I don't know how well this is going to get picked up on the video, but I've already made a little mark of roughly where this needs to be drilled. And then put a little line as to where the center of this will go to make sure the hole stays far enough away from it. Hopefully that's getting picked up. If not, well, you'll see it when I drill it. So let's get push that aside right now. Get that taken out. What else? All right, now this can get all cleaned up and oiled later too. The main thing for this is that big glob of goo has to come off, and these pieces down here have to be also trimmed off. So let's get all that stuff apart. And you do that by, so there's two different, there's like a hook piece on here if you're not familiar with the way most Athearn motors work. Maybe I can zoom in on that. I don't know if I can show how well it'll show in the camera. But there's like a hook piece that goes around like a little notch. And then on this side, it's a clip. The hook piece kind of clips in. I'll pop that off so you can get a better example of what that looks like. Be very careful when you take that off because there are springs, and that'll go flying and you'll never see it again. So pop that off. Okay, so the way this that may have been put on actually incorrectly. Usually it pops in. Yeah, so whoever took this apart last time, they put that on backwards. Usually the part that snaps here is closer to where the spring is, so they put that on backwards. No big deal. Anyway, we'll get the solder off of that, and we're going to put new solder in here, and that will allow the cables for the DCC decoder to come off. We're going to try to get them both off on the same side, And the goal for this is to have only the 4 wires come down to this that we need for the motor and the pickup, and everything else is going to be attached on the inside up in here in the plastic. It's going to run the wiring and everything, and then just put some 3M tape in there and just cram all of that into the top, and it'll make it a little cleaner. It needs to come apart. So what's up next? Okay, we got that one off. Let's get the other one off too. Brushes are in really good shape, nice and full. Doesn't look like it's seen a lot of use. Okay, that looks good for now. We'll come back to that later. We'll get the fiberglass pencil, which is this, to clean this at some point. And yeah, so I guess next up will be desoldering that the best that I can. It's a real mess. And clipping this off and then soldering where new things need to go. So let's push this aside, move to the next step. Actually, you know what? Before I go to the next step, I can just do this right now. Just use some wire cutters, push this up, cut that. Same thing on this side, cut that. Don't know what that's from. Deal with that later. And let's push these. I'm gonna need my little magnifying glass thingy here for this. Hopefully that's not in the way on camera. And we will, oh, you know, actually, you know what? To flatten that down, because you don't want that sticking into the bottom. Okay, it looks pretty flat. It's good. Okay, get this out of here. Get this magnifying glass out of here for the moment. And I don't know if that's going to be in camera or not. It will be, but barely. See what I can do. I'll try to do my best. And try to get these wired up. So first thing I gotta do with this before we start soldering any of that stuff on, the flux capacitor. No, just the flux. So we'll put some of that. Oh, that really should be clean first. That's nasty. I know the idea of flux is it's supposed to clean some of that stuff up. But you can clean it first too. That is nasty. See, we can brush some of that grime off. It's marginally better. All right, so we'll put some on here. Here you go. And we'll put some on here. Here you go. All right, now get that soldering iron fired back up again. Go to the next step. Okay, that should be hot enough. So we got a solder sucker here. Just prime that up, and we'll we'll see where it goes. I apologize, this is sort of off camera to the, I guess it'll be your right a bit, but we'll do our best here, working with what we got. All right, so let's get this hot, melted. And then we hit this on here, and poof! And it didn't do the right thing. Melted again. I got most of it. There's a little left, but not much. There. Let's say that's 90% of it. Next step will be getting solder on that. Okay, and I think since I heated that up, I'm going to probably need to put a little more, put a little bit more flux on there. Next, let's put some solder on that. I'm gonna need my. Oh no, I don't need that. there's something on the other side of it. Okay, well, that's a problem. Alright, well, I'm gonna have to clean that up and we'll come back to that. Okay, well, I messed that up, but I fixed it. So you can't have solder on the back side of that or it won't stick to the back to the motor. So I fixed it. Anyway, I desoldered the back of that and we're gonna try again. And I have my magnifying glass here to see, so I can actually see what I'm doing this time. Hopefully that's off camera and not in the way. All right, that looks better. Let's drop that. Boop. Put the next one on there. All right, what's next? What's next will be drilling this to get it prepped for the negative wire. Positive wires will connect to these, one to the other, and negative wire goes to this. Orange wire goes to the top of the motor. Gray wire goes to the bottom of the motor, which are these things. We're getting there. All right, it doesn't take as long as you would think to do just a basic install. I'll show you when we get into the lighting and stuff like that. It gets the bulk of the work ends up being there. But okay, so let's get to the next step. I'm gonna go drill that out in the garage with my drill press, and I will be back in a bit. I got that drilled. Hopefully that will show right here. So I'm going to tap that next, and I'll come back to you in a minute here. Okay, and with that done, that's tapped and threaded. Now we can, just for comparison's sake, or check's sake, it does indeed fit. So we'll be putting a, I don't know, like a spade terminal or something, or whatever, it doesn't really matter, on the other side of that, and soldering to that for the negative side. It's a little long. Let's see if I can get a shorter number 6 to go in there. I'm sure we can get something shorter than whatever this is. I think this is 3/4 inch. We can get that back of that out. It might be 1/2 inch. I'm sure I can get something in number 6 shorter than that. So next step. Now what do we got? We got black line. We have the red lines. These wheels should be clean though before we do that. Then we have orange and gray. Yeah, so I guess next up on the list is clean the wheels, and in fact, while we're at that, oh, look at that. While we're cleaning stuff in here, this one, hopefully this gets picked up on camera. Looks like a previous attempt to open this at some point must have cracked the underside of it. I'm hoping that won't crack further. In fact, let's just test that right now and see what happens. I'm going to hit the other side first, very carefully. There we go. Ooh, okay. I'm going to put some glue on that. Some Testor's cement, actually. This stuff. That works the best on plastic. Put that on there and get that fixed. And I'll continue cleaning stuff. Let's see these. You know what? I'll take this apart so I can show you. Pretty straightforward to get these apart. Hopefully this one won't break too. The plastic is so old that it is just unreal fragile. Okay. So let's pop this apart. Really not loving doing that, but there. Yeah, I can, oh, those are all in really good shape. Okay, good. So the things that need to be cleaned, other than just the wheels themselves, which are a mess, in here. So near certain that's not going to be picked up on camera, and there's no real way you can easily zoom in on that. And I don't think my magnifying glass will reach it, unfortunately. But anyway, I'll point to it best that I can. Here, I'll turn it around this way. So in the bottom of these, the way these older Athearn trucks worked, the there's metal pins on the end of the wheels that sit in these round grooves. The newer style is different. They have bearings. I don't have any handy, unfortunately. They have bearings that basically spin around the edge of the axle. And these older ones, the wheels spin inside these, and these get really nasty. So unrelated to the other build that we're just working on here, just a side note, while I'm waiting for some parts to come in, I started working on cleaning up another Athearn. So this one here is one of the more modern style that has the this underneath it, basically the little wheel bearings that sit on the frames. And I have a couple of these open here just to show you what to do with them to clean them up. So for these ones, it's a little different. Just pop the wheels off of the center axle piece, do a good cleanup around the wheels, get all the gook off that, then do the same thing with these little tiny bearings. Use like those little Q-tips, and you've seen in another episode there, these little Q-tips, they're very fine. They don't have all the fur on them that the big Q-tips have. Get in there really good and get all the gummy nastiness off there, and then just reassemble everything. That's something to note. It's the way I clean these newer style Athearns. And of course, when you do that, you should always double check with a wheel gauge. Make sure everything's in spec. So I put this case here, I put the bearings back on here. I'm sorry, I don't have the full light on. I only have the first overhead light. It should be enough for you to see them what I'm doing. Put the other side on. So wheel bearing, and then the centerpiece and the axle. And that is not, it's pretty close, a little tighter. Yeah, that's good. So we're engaged. That's all you gotta do. And they don't pick up well. So even if the wheels themselves don't look overly bad, these are kind of nasty, but they're not really bad. What happens, I can see it from here, the inside of this is almost completely black. It's just a complete mess. So I'll clean up all that, clean the wheels, clean up all that. I'm going to do it off camera. There's no point in doing that on camera. There's nothing really to see or show. Some people use the fiberglass pencil to do it. I use a Dremel tool. I use a wire wheel on a Dremel tool. It's much faster. You just get that spinning and you just go buzz all out around there. And that does a really good job. So I'm going to fix that. I'm going to clean the wheels. I'm going to clean the inside of these with, in fact, here, let me go show you what I'm going to do. I have these things I picked up off Amazon. They're like Q-tips, only much smaller. They don't have the huge, thick cotton swab area on the edge of it. And when you put them in here, they'll fit much better for really tight spaces. Oh, look how black that's nasty. So I'll get that all in there. Get that. Oh, that is just gross. I'm gonna get all that cleaned up on all of the trucks. And then we'll come back to this. Wow, I bet that's the cleanest these wheel bearings have been, or axle bearings, or yes, or whatever these would be called. Axle seals, I don't know, whatever it's called. The little copper, the brass things in there. That's the cleanest these have been in 40 years either way. So that's a lot of nasty stuff that was going on in there. So that's all cleaned up. Get the wheels all cleaned up next, and then start putting stuff back together. All right, so look at the difference between the side that was just done. Oh, you can even see the gook coming off on the other side. And the side that's not done yet. It's quite a difference in the shine. And all that other crud, I'm just gonna get that off of all the wheels. So I'm just gonna keep doing this, and then I'll do it off camera, come back on and do the rest of them. Okay, so where do we leave this off yesterday? What a mess it looks like here. Right, so we're working on the trucks. Let's get these back together. These are all cleaned up now. Let's get this stuff all back together. And then the next step, I think, will be we get the wires soldered onto there, solder this onto this piece here, which is going to go to the area that I tapped here for the screw. So that will be held in by this, though I'm going to be using a smaller one than that at some point. Just for now, it's good enough to tack it in. Motor wires will go to this. Positive will go to the top of these trucks once we get that all back together, and the negative will go to that. So, or black will go to that. So let's I'm gonna do this off camera because it just takes a bit of time, but the general gist of this is that these just go back in here like so. This is, by the way, the next day because I wanted this to seal really well. That's the thing that the plastic that I put the cement on yesterday. And then we negotiate the wheels into there. There we go. And then we can pop the top piece on first. Keep that together. Pop the bottom one on. Don't break, please. Haha. Good. Perfect. Runs great. Okay, so that's one. Now we'll do the other one, and we'll keep going. Okay, so both trucks are back together. They haven't probably moved that smoothly since the 1980s, so we'll let's put those aside for now. We're going to need to do some soldering, so I'll get the soldering iron out. All the fuzzies off of it. I am probably going to have to, I'm just going to look to see where the, yeah, it'll be in the camera. I was hoping it would be in the camera. It's right at the edge of it. I might need to adjust things a little bit, but we'll get there when we get there. Let's see. I'm gonna need some flux. Gonna need something to put the flux on. Okay, that. These are all ready to go. Don't need that thing. That's ready for the red connectors after we put them back in. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to heat up, did I hit the button on that? Yes, I did. Here's what's going to go into this. It is a Digitrax GH127D. Nothing fancy. I just need front and rear lights. Yeah, that's it. So for people not familiar with the way Digitrax does their numbering system, everything starts basically with a D or an S. If it's sound, it says S. The scale is next, either Z, N, or H. Then 1 or 0 for whether it has motor control. 1 means yes. 2 is the number of auxiliary ports for like lights and stuff like that. And 7 is appears to be, from what I can make out of it, it's basically the year series. 7's the current one. Like you see, like 1, 2, 3, they're earlier models. They're a lot older. It's not. They don't release new numbers every year. It's basically every series of it. So this is the most current series, 1 to 7, that I'm aware of. Maybe there's a 1 to 8 by now. I don't know. But that's what's going on here. So while that's heating up, I'm actually going to, off camera, just going to trim these wires at the end of them to get them ready for soldering. Okay, they are trimmed. I'm leaving some of the wiring on them for now. Let's get some flux on a couple spots that need it. This thing for one. That should be interesting. What else needs it? I think that's actually it. Those already have them on it. I'm splitting the red wire. Let's pop this over here. All right, maybe we'll start with the black, since that's right in the center. Okay, easy. Then we will spin you around a bit. And ta-da! Okay, there, that's done. That is black done. Now, for red, actually, let's do the other ones first. I think orange or gray. Let's do gray with this. And that is going to face which direction? Face this direction. Want it to go that way. So we need it to go like that. To do this backwards, I'm not greatly ambidextrous, so do the best that I can. Okay, seems good. Now, orange will go this direction. Not liking that. See something going wrong here, but we'll figure it out. There's orange. Good, okay, that. Now we gotta do red. To do red, need to start reassembling some stuff. So, I should have took a picture of this before I took it apart. Pretty sure this is the correct orientation. Let's use this one. Green, sure. Cut it around there. Right, okay, so then we'll have red. And I'm going to the two of these together. Hopefully that's in the camera. You can see that. Okay, and we'll put that. Oops, see. What did I do? Put that here. Okay, and then we'll put the other side over here. There's a ton of solder, whoever put that on there. Wow. Okay, good. We're getting there. We're getting there. All right, what's next? Let's, I think I need that anymore for a bit. So I'm going to unplug my soldering iron and we'll get to start reassembling the motor stuff and put some oil on the bearings and stuff like that in there. And oh, and we also need to put some tape down here, some Kapton tape. This stuff to protect, even though it's been cut off wherever it is here on the bottom, we want to make sure that there's no chance of that rubbing against this because this will be conducting. So I will get to that and then we'll turn the camera back on. Okay, wasn't much to see here, just cut a piece of tape. Cut it in half, put down 2 pieces of it, and then just pushed it down into here a little bit. Easy. Now, I'll come back to that in a second. Next up will be the motor. So we got, this is the top. Oh, need to put the, how could I forget? You know what? Let's get this out of the way first. So you can see what I'm doing here. First thing we're going to do is put in the brush. And then we're going to need to put in the real fun stuff, which is the springs. Now I have a method to doing that. This guy right here. So let's show you the way I do this. So get the spring, put the spring through the toothpick, that into the spot, very carefully. Then we will snip this on the correct way. Boom. Now flip it over, the same thing, brush in first. Spring. Very carefully, the center. Okay. Pop that on. Notice they're both coming out the same side. That was the whole idea of what I was trying to do over there, arranging which way that would be oriented. So that looks good. Then we can pop the motor mounts back on. They just snap on like that. Back to you in a minute. That's still hot, so I can't remove that yet. Make sure I got this in the right direction. Slide that in and around everything. Push this down. Let's look underneath. It's pretty close. Put a little bit more pressure on those. There, that's down. This side. Yep, okay, just to show underneath. All four are down. Seems nice and tight. All right, what do we got next? We got this rolling good, but we don't have anything attached. Let's pop these back off. We'll oil the, oh, you know what? Actually, before I do that, let me show you what I was doing with this black connector. Hopefully the camera's picking this up. Try my best to get this in the camera. Maybe I'll do it this way. So, with that in place, we basically dump that down there. Oh, I need a screwdriver. Hang on. This is number 6, Robertson. Because Robertson is awesome. Ah! It still falls though. And we'll try to get that in there without making a huge mess. You know what? There. So I'll spin this around so the camera can see it. So that is now connected into the frame, doesn't touch the motor, and though I would like to turn this a little bit, I'm getting some pan head screws instead of this flared machine screw, and that will keep that, that'll make it a little bit better contact, and it will keep that from spinning around as much. They're on order anyway. They'll be here at some point before this project's completed. But that's irrelevant for right now. So let's get the pieces on the ends here, and then we'll at least have minimal viable product that we can put on a track and get it tested. This is my handy dandy easy oil. Wow, we're running out of oil. Be really careful if you're using something like this and not to poke yourself with it. Let's get the air out of this. Right up to there. All right. Just a little dab will do you. Unfortunately, going to need my magnifying glass there. It doesn't look like it's blocking the camera in any significant way. Oh, you know what? Actually, we'll oil this after it's in. Put that over there so I don't jam myself with it. Put it in first, and then we will deal with it. This part's always fun. It's a real exercise in patience, I'll tell you that. There. Woo. All right. Whew. Okay, that's in one side. So we'll put the dab of oil on here. Righty-ho. Okay, that's one side. Now I'll do the other one. Might end up doing that off camera as well. That's words are often said. There. All right. Wasn't so bad. Getting the first bearing in is usually the trickiest.
Oh, okay, getting there. We're getting there. Ah, ta-da! Okay, well, this side. A flush washer. There. All right, put this back on before I get poked with it. Yeah, it looks like I need to put a little bit more oil in there. We're pretty much at the end. All right, what's left? This. Okay, we got black, red, gray, and orange. That is enough to get it tested. I'm just going to block off the lights here and these unused wires, the purple and the green, and I'll cut those off completely probably, since they are not used and just get in the way. And we'll go over to the track and we'll see what happens with it. All right, well, it looks like I had the trucks installed on the wrong side for whatever reason, so that was causing a short. So let's move this now to Loco 3. Seems to be working okay, and let's give it some power. Forward. Whoa! Backwards. That is the strongest that engine has probably done anything in 40 years. So, 2. Not bad. Will it creep at a 1? Nope. 2 is the minimum. But she does run. Cool. All right. Next is lights. Now, so this part is basically working at this point. So we're going to push that just kind of out of the way here, off to the side for a minute. And today we're going to focus on the lights. So a couple things I need to do here. As you can see from the inside, this has already, for whatever reason, been kind of hacked there. So first thing I gotta do is cut a section of this off so that the light can actually fit through and into the spot. Now I don't know if I'm gonna end up having to take that other piece off yet or not. It looks like it should fit through. No, actually we'll figure that out in a minute. Let's cut this up first and take it from there. You can safely break that off at this point. Yep. All right, so that will end up going back in there. Now I need to figure out if that light actually fits or not. Looks like the top one has already been pushed through. Let's get a this way, 2mm tiny drill bit. That should be more than enough to go through there, and we'll just poke that through and see what happens. All right. I don't know if I can really easily do this on camera. I'll try to get it to face that direction. Oh, according to this, that's already been done. See that? Hopefully that shows up on camera. I'm just going to touch the camera to make sure we're good. Yeah. Should be able to see that. So it's through, and whatever the problem is, that it's through in too big of a hole. It doesn't actually want to stay there. Okay, gotta try one more time to get that in there. It's in, but it's not in far. I don't know how much how I like that. And then if I put this in, is that going to fall off? I guess will be the next question. You know what? I'm going to power that up and see what kind of light I get off of that before I start messing around with dropping things like glue and cement and stuff like that and cementing it in place. Once I do that, there's no turning back, right? So let's get this wired up and see what it looks like. Okay, I've turned off some of the lighting. I'm going to turn off the last main overhead light. Okay, what do we got here? Yeah, that's I'd consider that acceptable. So I think that actually seems to be showing up on camera. Yeah, I think we can live with that. So I will glue that down in that position. Turn all this stuff back on. I'll glue that down in position. Then we'll get this in place and get that glued down in position. And see where to go next, I guess. Okay, well, that cleaned this up a little bit. I'm gonna have to hold that in place for a little while, so we'll get back to that when I think that that's dry. Okay, so here we are. More off-camera shenanigans had to happen. Needed to cut a little bit more off the that glass piece there on the inside, and I think it's at a position now where I'm okay enough to drop a little glue on there and try to keep things in place. So let's do that. This should keep the wires in place and that glass piece from moving. Drives me nuts that there's always that little hangy piece off of that. Okay, leave that sit. Hangy piece on. Maybe that'll show up on camera. See a little. Yeah, you can see it like that maybe. Anyway, that will eventually be the point that I can just pull it off after that dries, and then we'll do a double check on the light. I did just do a check with it off camera, but before putting the glue on there to see how that ends up looking, and then we can work on the two back lights and start wiring this together and maybe get the shell on it and take her for a run after that dries. I want that to dry first though. Okay, well, so that looks okay. So we're gonna end up doing here too is cutting some of these wires to make things a little more acceptable. Like these are really long, thick wires for these LEDs, which is unnecessary. So this probably cut that somewhere around here, and the red, I'm going to cut them so that they can kind of blend together down here somewhere on the inside, and cut that all up anyway and clean it all up. Before I do that though, I want to just do a quick test fit to make sure there's no problems in the back, because you just never know, right? So let's I'm probably going to need this guy, so let's try this. Get it there. Oh yeah, that went in really easy. Somebody may have cut this before me a bit big. Yeah, that went in there really easy, so that's not going to be a problem. So what I'll do now is pull them out. What I'm going to do now is cut some of the wire lengths and try and make things look a little better. So this one here will be white. White goes to the front. Righty-ho. Okay, so now we have hopefully not too short cables. We have that to there, this to here. I'm going to strip these all down and get some heat shrink tubing into the correct spots for these, and then yeah, well, then heat up and plug her in and glue down the wires in the back and or the lights in the back, and go from there. So we'll do that as the next step. Okay, some more off-camera shenanigans. I just got this tied up and so forth, and I decided to put some Kapton tape over this to clean that up a little bit. It shouldn't be rubbing. Everybody should have pulled that out a little further. Okay, once that's in the case, it should be fine. Okay, so what's left here? We got white, blue, and yellow. White is to the front, yellow is to the back, and blue is the common positive. All right, so what do we got here? Let's do white first. I think I mentioned this in an earlier, either in this video or another video. If the comment is, why aren't you soldering it? Well, you generally don't need to do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But generally you don't. As long as you're heat shrinking it, it shouldn't be moving. And if it does, you've got much bigger problems that you need to worry about. So, and that said, before I go any further with this, I'm just going to shrink that one. And before I move on. Righto, okay, so now we can let's mix the blue with this. And take that, the yellow with this. The yellow might be too big for that. We'll see where it goes. All right, now what? Now these need to go in down here. This will be fun. Oh my God. And I might have to do this off camera. You already saw me do this earlier, and oh, there it goes. There's one. So I did eventually get them in place there. I had to use my magnifying glass to figure out what was going on. And so now I have that just taped down just to keep it in place for now. And I'm going to hold these in place and fire up the glue gun again. Drop some glue right down on there so they do not move anymore. So give me a few minutes here to get that ready, and we'll come back to that. Alrighty, let's see how this goes. Just for good measure, I'm gonna put a drop of it over here too. There's the little hangy thingies. Not really fond of that being on the back wall over here, but I missed, you know, and that happens. Shouldn't impact anything, it's pretty far down. Alright, well, wait for that to dry, and then we'll take it over to the track and do some basic testing. Again, don't like that, but that's just the way it is. Right, okay, well, let's let that dry, give it a few minutes, and take her to the track and make sure that the lights work and that everything still moves, and then we can almost call this one a day, other than probably swapping out that old horn hook coupler and putting in a knuckle coupler. Looks like some weird combination there. I don't know if somebody hacked that in or what. Anyway, we'll figure that out when we get there. Alright, well, what do we have here? So the light is on, which is good. We're on 3. Appears that the normal direction of travel is reversed, so I'll have to switch that in the CV. I also got doing some other interesting things, like if I put it on 3, look at her go, and it's kind of surging. Oh, it's better now. It was surging a bit. It might be just something to do with the EMF backfeed or whatever it is that's in this these decoders. So let me do a program right quick here. Change it to 3788. Okay, change the acceleration to 8, deceleration to 8. I'll have to look up what CV that is. Locomotive 3788. Yeah, there's definitely some issues with it, but you know, we'll get it sorted out. It doesn't look oh, something shorted. That's fantastic. Okay, well, deal with that. Okay, well, I figured out why I fried. Put a question mark on it to see this, but it looks like the pins in here that were exposed ended up touching this, and they fried it. Fantastic. So this one, this TCS, is completely covered up. Though I'm going to probably try to put it in the center anyway, and we'll jigger the wires around in a way that it's very unlikely to short out. Well, it was a waste of a decoder, but it is what it is. So moving on, I'll get this tied back together, and well, we'll give it another shot. All right, let's try it again. So we're on 3. We have a new decoder in there. And I'm certain that the normal direction of travel is still probably backwards. I don't know why. We'll figure it out. It's supposed to be going forward, and it's not. It's also very squeaky. That's not good. All right, needs some oil inside, and needs that normal direction of travel to be switched. Other than that, I think we actually got her working. So let me do those last couple things, get that, try to get that fixed up, and we can call this one finally done. Okay, well, an update on this. Looks like it's running, so I'm just gonna run it in a little bit and hopefully, you know, break it in, because the get all the oil and stuff in there. It's really noisy, but it's an old Athearn blue box. It's going to be noisy anyway. They're not exactly the most quiet of things, but it is running. All the issues seem to be sorted out. The lights are in the correct directions. I had to change CV29 for normal direction of travel. Then I had to change CVs 49 and 50 for the lights, even though they're wired correctly. I don't know why. Something's backwards on it, but it's running. That's all that matters. So now it'll be on to the next NB Southern one. You can pop this off over here for a second. Off the tripod. So there's 2 in the queue over in the other room, and then we got 3 right here also that are oh god, I hope they're not all Athearns. I'm pretty sure at least one of them is an Athearn. That is a Walthers, and this is, oh, of course not. There's 2 Athearns and a Walthers. Maybe I'll do the Walthers after they finish the ones in the office. And well, that's pretty much it. Thanks for sticking around for this trip. It was a that was quite a build. I was not expecting that to be as complicated as it was, but you know, different lessons to be learned all the time, and new things, and well, it just is what it is. What it is, and the light works. Oh, I changed the acceleration and deceleration too a little bit. So, whoa, not enough apparently. But here you can see the reverse light is working as well. I'll flip the direction again. Yeah, it's working. All right. So once again, I'm gonna keep breaking this in. And thanks for watching.